as human history unfolds before my eyes. My spirit is meant to be free, and soon now everyone's free. It's your right to be whatever you wanna be, and it's your right. It's yours and yours and yours, and what you see. It's yours and yours and yours, and what you see. What's not meant for me, what's not meant for me. You don't have to be long, it's in your world. You are truly free. It's your world, yeah. It's yours and yours and yours, and what you see, what you see, what you see is what's not meant for me. It's your world. You are truly free. So be who you wanna be. You are truly free. It's your world. It's your world. Whose world is this? It's your world, it's your world, it's your world, It's your world. It's your world to be free. You ain't got to be lonely. The world is yours, the world is yours. Your world, your world. It's your world, it's your world.
It's your world. It's your world. Who pulled the wool over your eyes? Who lied and said the skies were the limit? Our spirits are infinite. Was exhibited. The intention is to reset the cores of cores that comes with resistance. Can't grow without pain. Muscles don't gain without tension. We stay 10 toes down in the trenches. We get up, hop fences, jump stargates. We get together just so we can stargaze. Hey! The spark we generate even leaves the stars amazed. Our waves wave through the mud and the maze. The system was built because they meant for us to stay in our place and behave, to conform. We've been warned of a cold, cold world, but our light is so warm. Love is a suit of armor that's worn. We are the light.
just live in it. Sure. Oh, it's your world. Yours. And I just live in it. All right. It's yours. The ground beneath my feet, I know what's there for me.
Good morning and welcome to First Unitarian. Please rise in body or spirit as we sing Come and Go With Me. Come and go with me to that land. Come and go with me to that land. Come and go with me to that land where I'm bound. Come and go with me to that land. Come and go with me to that land. Come and go with me to that land where I'm bound. There'll be freedom in that land. There'll be freedom in that land. There'll be freedom in that land where I'm bound. There'll be freedom in that land. There'll be freedom in that land. There'll be freedom in that land where I'm bound. There'll be justice in that land. There'll be justice in that land. There'll be justice in that land where I'm bound. There'll be justice in that land. There'll be justice in that land. There'll be justice in that land where I'm bound. There'll be singing in that land. There'll be singing in that land. There'll be singing in that land where I'm bound. There'll be singing in that land. There'll be singing in that land. There'll be singing in that land where I'm bound.
Welcome to First Unitarian Church of Rochester, where our mission is that through spiritual connection and community, we listen deeply to others and ourselves, we open to wonder and transformation, and we serve together with love and humility. My name is Reverend AJ. I use he and him pronouns, and I'm one of the ministers that serves this congregation. I offer a special welcome to anyone who is new or new-ish here. Please stop by our welcome desk so that we can get to know you a little bit better and we can get you plugged into things around here. If you are here this morning because you are worried about the state of the world, or there's something troubling you, or you're worried about somebody else who's going through a hard time, please reach out. We have our lay pastoral care associates. Phil is here wearing a beige and rainbow stole. You can connect with him during the service if needed, or anytime during the week. Now, I want to acknowledge first, it's wonderful to see this room filled up so much. Gilbert Hall that we are in right now is not our ideal worshiping situation, so it's very full. If there's seats next to anyone, please raise your hand, but it's possible that we have already done that same. So just so that folks are aware, we do have the live stream going in the lower meeting room in the basement. So that is sort of our overflow worship space, but of course everyone is welcome here to find their space to sit or stand or participate in worship. One of the things about this space, I want to acknowledge that when we rise for hymns, it can be difficult for everyone to see the lyrics. It's also difficult when we remain seated for the hymns for everyone to see the lyrics. So I'm just to let you all know, next Sunday we will be here in Gilbert Hall, but it will be the last Sunday. And then after that, we will be in some other places and then back in the sanctuary. So, all to say, queuing up the next month or so of worship, next week we are excited to have a joint Justice Sunday, joint with ourselves and First Universalist downtown and the UU Church of Canandaigua, all coming together to worship here around justice. And we have a special guest minister coming to preach, so we're very excited about that. The next Sunday, the 24th, will be our annual animal blessing service. So bring your furry friends or a picture of them. We will be out there on the east lawn. Weather permitting, we will be outside. If there's rain, we will be back in the sanctuary on that Sunday. But hopeful for clear skies and warm weather. The next Sunday would be the 31st, the very last day in August, will be our backpack blessing service, and that we will be in the sanctuary for, at one service still. Then, September 7th, we'll have our homecoming weekend, our homecoming worship service with our water communion service, and we will be at two services, 9:15 and 11:30, held in the sanctuary, with connection time in between. So, that's a lot of moving parts in different places and schedules. Just watch the newsletter to see where we are to be and who we are welcoming into worship that day. So, pulling us back to the present moment, where we are here gathered together and very excited to welcome back from their sabbatical our lead minister, Reverend Shari. This is where I need my script because so for anyone who may not know, sabbatical is a time that a minister spends away from the life of the congregation, usually for a period of some months, for significant rest and renewal, reflection, and realignment. It is also a time for the congregation to stretch its muscles and to see who they are without the lead minister present. As we welcome Reverend Shari back, we acknowledge that none of us are exactly the same people or community that we were in March when Reverend Shari began their sabbatical, and we will take care over the next weeks and months to reintegrate our relationship with intention. And so in that spirit, I'd like to invite up Jan and Gail, Florence and Amanda and David to welcome Reverend Shari back. Begin with Jan.
Reverend Shari. As your sabbatical advisory team, Gail and I were pleased and delighted to support Reverend Bill and the coordinating team by paying attention to how the congregation was doing while you were away and providing some history and context. And now, with joy and anticipation, we welcome you back.
Reverend Shari, as your sabbatical coordinating team, Reverend AJ and I have led with the mission and health of the community at heart in your absence. And now, with joy and excitement, we welcome you back.
I do have a mic on. I need two. No. Reverend Shari, on behalf of the staff, we have leaned into our relationships and kept love at the center while you've been away. And now, with joy and collaboration, we welcome you back.
Reverend Shari, as your new board president, the trustees have held the dreams of our years ahead, and now with joy, zeal, and conviction, we welcome you back.
Welcome back, Reverend Shari. Thank you, everyone. As we settle into this time and place for our worship service, I invite you to center yourselves, perhaps with a deep breath, with your feet on the ground. We acknowledge and respect the Seneca Nation, keepers of the Western Door, and part of the Haudenosaunee people on whose ancestral and contemporary lands First Unitarian now stands. Wherever you may be at home, I invite you to light a chalice wherever you are, and here in the sanctuary, I invite up Sarah and Jamie and Jesse to light our chalice. As we share in the unison words, life is a gift for which we are grateful. We gather in community to celebrate the glories and the mysteries of this great gift. Great job.
And I invite you one more time to rise in body or spirit as we join in singing, "This Is My Song." This is my song, O God of all the nations, a song of peace for lands afar and mine. This is my home, a country where my heart is. We are my hopes, my dreams, my holy shrine. But others' hearts in other lands are beating with hopes and dreams.
Hello, my name is Chris. I use he, him pronouns, and my wife and I have both consider ourselves lifetime New Yorkers, mostly because we are. But what that means to us, I realized as I said it, that came off really weird. But what that means to us means something very different. Because my wife grew up in the greater Rochester area. I grew up on Long Island. And after college, when we were looking at grad schools and things, we wound up back down on Long Island, which ostensibly was going home for me. Still have a family, friends down there. We never really reestablished Long Island as a home for us, an emotional home for us, even though we were back down there for almost 20 years. Kids, house, the whole thing. And it was, our son was preschool, so probably 4-ish. And as young parents, there are young parents in the room, you have no idea what you're doing, right? Okay, great. That doesn't get better. But as young parents, our son, as he was learning to talk and express himself, which he has not stopped doing, we found we couldn't understand him. We really struggled. And so as young parents, we said, all right, let's go find a speech therapist because we want to do the best we can for our kid. And so we brought Robert to a speech therapist, and she took him in the back, and she did a bunch of tests and whatnot, and brought us back in to meet with her in her office. And she said, so Chris and Emily, your son is fine. There's nothing wrong with him. His speech is totally normal. And so we thanked her very much, and we paid our copay and whatnot. And we walked back out to the car, and Emily said, did Robert just get clinically diagnosed with a Long Island accent? And that's why we come to church, because we are not just the place where we are. We are the people that we interact with. And the language that he was getting at home was very different than the language that he was getting from my parents or from his friends at school and his teachers and things like that. And that is why we come to church, because it is just a building. And whether we're up here or we're out there or we're downstairs, it's still the same building. But we are the people who make this place go. And you sound fantastic today. It is very different up here. Hearing songs, hearing hymns, than it is downstairs. And I don't know that everybody really appreciates that. But thank you for coming. We're very, very excited that you're here.
Sorry. It's still delight every time that Chris shares a story with us. I would like to invite the children to come forward for the Time for All Ages story. There's a guest. Wonderful. I'm so glad you brought a friend. I hope you'll all bring friends to church with you. All right, so this morning's story is inspired by the book, The Kissing Hand. Has anybody read that book, The Kissing Hand, by Audrey Penn? So, you may have heard the story of a little raccoon who headed to school for the very first time. He was nervous, as one would be on the precipice of such a big change. Has anybody here started school for like the first time and really remember that feeling? The first time you left your home and your parents to go somewhere new? It's a big deal, right? In an effort to make him feel better, his mother offers him a kiss on his hand so that he can take her love with him wherever he goes, to school and anywhere else that he goes. Then she kisses his palm and folds his fingers into a fist so that he can hold on to that kiss and won't ever lose it. And she even reassures him that it will stick there forever, this kiss and her love, and won't wash away, even when he washes his lunch at school, as raccoons do. Do you know they do that? They wash their food in the river. She says, it'll stay, don't worry. So it's such a comfort to the little raccoon. striking out as he is on this brave new journey. Life is full of little goodbyes and big goodbyes. And life is full of little hellos and big hellos. So today, we get to say a big hello to Shari as they return from their sabbatical. So exciting. And today, we have a person who is leaving us, and we're saying goodbye to them. So that person who's leaving us is a minister and not a little raccoon. But still, it's a tender thing saying goodbye. So Verdis, would you come on up here with us? So I am not alone in feeling like this will be a hard goodbye, to say goodbye to Verdis. So much that you have given to this community. It's a long list. Sitting next to you this morning, I'm really thinking about your voice. Gonna miss your voice.
We were harmonizing.
Yes. I always feel honored. So Verdis is starting a new and exciting journey. And part of this journey means saying goodbye to us at First Unitarian so that he can say hello to a brand new congregation in Connecticut where he will be their full-time minister, All Souls in Connecticut. So on behalf of the children and youth and families of our congregation, maybe in the back it's hard to see, it's a tiny little red stone heart. So Verdis, will you open your hand? There you go. May this small, bright, strong heart, given on behalf of the children, youth, and families of this congregation, keep your memory of us strong. I'm going to close your fingers. There you go. As you set out on this brand new journey, we hope this heart will help you to remember the love that exists for you here at the First Unitarian Church of Rochester. May this story of hellos and goodbyes unfold in your hearts until we are together again. And I'm going to invite us to sing the children out to their adventures.
We bless you on your journey through, from sheltering arms to the white sky blue, in your joyful jumps and your sad times too. You bless us by being you.
You bless us by being you. Not a message only for our children, but for each and every one of you. And it is a gift for me as I return to look out at all of your faces. Returning from 4+ months away, I held the clear reality that though I was apart, this church and all of the people that make it what it is, well, you all were having full lives without me. The more petty part within me said, how dare you? And the part of me that was deeply relaxed, hiking in Japan, grounded my feet into the land below me and said, bless them. I know not what they carry. I know not what good trouble they are making, what glory and beauty they bring to the world, or that they are noticing. But it is happening. And that's true every Sunday, actually, every morning, every time we gather, each of us comes here with stories that we do not know about one another. So it is into this spirit that I ask you to lean into prayer, to feel the floor, the ground, the earth, the couch, the seat below you, solid or creaky. Notice the air in this room or wherever you happen to be joining us online. Here it's a bit warm. And take a moment to look around at the people who have gathered here. This is our place for now. We may not have chosen every part of it, not every face that you see. We didn't lay the foundation. Some in this room, but most of us didn't install the lights. We haven't written the words in our hymn books. But for this hour, we are in this place together. And that is a holy thing. Spirit of life, God of endings and beginnings, source of power and of love, of weakness and brokenness and the wholeness found within. Thank you for all the leaders of this congregation, those who make this church what it is. Thank you for all who lend their presence, their needing, their wanting, those who come because there is something heavy on their hearts. I give thanks for the newcomers, those who entered into this space while I was away, who understand perhaps more fully than anyone else, except those who have been here and have seen ministers come and go, that the church is not the person who gets to talk the most here. The church is who we are together. Spirit of life, power of love that animates us all, call us forward into this spirit of leadership, of fellowship, of knowing whose and whom we are. Spirit of life and love, help us in our holy work that continues. Here in community, we lift up in prayer in particular Judy Bennett and the family of Paul Miner, longtime member of this congregation and nearly lifelong Unitarian Universalist. May his justice work and his big, bold being be remembered fondly. We wrap in love Joni Chapman, member of this congregation who is in hospice now. We hold in love all those among us who are worried about someone else, who are wrestling with grief, addiction, or simple loneliness. We hold in our hearts all that we can be together. Amen, and may it be so. One of the clearest ways we embody what it means to be a church together, one of the clearest ways that we embody what it means to create a spiritual home again and again through the weaving of people, is the ritual of community care that we participate in nearly every week. In a moment, you'll all be invited to either write into the chat or to come forward and light a candle on our altars of community or spirit, or to sit in your seats and bear witness to all that is going on in the lives of those who surround you. We witness to the grief, the growth, and the gratitude that we have in our lives. It is by our presence that this place, this time, is made holy. I invite you now to come forward.
Thank you.
For every light kindled, for all that we hold silently in our hearts and in the witness of this community, we pray. Amen, and blessed be.
Before we sing the words, let's sing through this one time, singing on an ooh or an ah, whatever vowel can bring you to a place of thoughtfulness, relaxation. Ready? And ooh. Sing the first verse. What wondrous love is this, O my soul, O my soul? What wondrous love is this, O my soul? What wondrous love is this that brings my heart such bliss, and takes away the pain of my soul, and takes away the pain of my soul. When I was sinking down, when I was sinking down, when I was sinking down beneath my sorrow's ground, friends to me gathered round. Oh my soul, friends to me gathered round. Oh my soul. To love and to all friends I will sing. To love and to all friends I will sing. To love and to all friends who pain and sorrow mend, with thanks unto the end I will sing, with thanks unto the end I will sing.
All that our church is and all that our church does is made possible by the time, talent, and the treasure that we give to our shared mission. Members and friends support this congregation financially through recurring giving, and on Sundays we also give through our shared collection. As part of the spiritual practice of generosity, 50 cents of every dollar given now to our offering will go to the Young Adult Revival Network, or YARN. YARN is a global effort to support, develop, and grow Unitarian Universalist young adult initiatives, providing connection to younger UUs regardless of geographical boundaries. Using Church Center is the easiest way to give. If you are not yet set up with the app, you can also give by texting GIVE and the amount you would like to give, with as many zeros as possible, to the number on the screen or in the offering baskets that will now be passed. In the spirit of abundance and generosity, the offering will now be given and humbly received.
Before these awesome people share this song with you, the disembodied voice is hiding behind the choir. I wanted to share with you a little bit of the context about this song, the composer's idea, and why we thought it fit really well today. So, in her own words, Marta Keene, the composer, describes the intention behind this work as finding your true calling in life, knowing that those who love you trust that you will return. And she wrote this song as one special person in her life was embarking on a new phase of their life's journey. And she also thinks of this piece to express the soul's yearning for to grow and change. So as we welcome back Reverend Shari, and as we wish best wishes and farewell to Reverend Verdis, I thought it would be really appropriate for the choir to share this piece with the congregation today. This is Homeward Bound by Marta Keene.
a couple days ago when I had just returned here, returned to Rochester, returned to First Unitarian, I sat in the garden with the president of the congregation, David Pinto, and on our way out, after a wonderful conversation, I picked up a wrapper off the ground. Somewhat thoughtlessly, I said, "Oh yeah, sacred space." It's a thing I do, a spiritual practice. Every place is sacred if you treat it as such. And so I pick up trash, and my hands are usually pretty disgusting. Something you might want to think about before you go in for a hug or a handshake. I try to wash my hands a lot, but it's not the beauty of architecture that makes a place holy. It's not even the history of what's happened there or the people who are here now, the memories that we carry in that place. It's all of that combined, but it's also something deeper, a sense that we belong here, a sense that this place is mine, I'm responsible for it. Yeah, sure, I pick up wrappers, but I do a lot more around here. It's a sense of belonging that makes a place sacred. It's a way of saying, this is mine, and it is where I am from. Where are you from is a loaded question for people of Asian descent in the United States and in many Western places. It's usually followed by, where are you from? If you happen to say the place that you were born and it's within the United States. Typically, people are asking, where is your family ancestry from? Where's the lineage that you descend from? But it's also a way of saying you don't belong here. You're not like me. You're not like us. And I'm happy to report that has never happened to me in this congregation, though it's happened to me in Unitarian Universalism and in Rochester. And one of the struggles that I have had living in Rochester is the lack of a robust Asian community here. And so it was clear to me that part of my time on sabbatical would be trying to trace some of this desire to be surrounded by other Asian people, other Chinese people. And so some of my travel took me to Hong Kong, the place where my father grew up, the place where my grandparents and aunts and uncles called home. Or so I thought. I had kind of forgotten that neither of my grandparents were born there. They had moved there as young adults right before having 5 children, and a decade or two before coming to the States. They had moved from mainland China. And so going to my places of ancestry, this spiritual pilgrimage to find a sense of rootedness and belonging in my family's stories was a little bit more complicated than I thought it was going to be. Getting a Chinese visa is, quite frankly, a real pain. And still, I got to go to places that in some ways felt completely bewildering and disorienting, and in other ways held surprising tastes of belonging. For the first time in 20 years, I got a haircut that I consider good. It's grown out now, but I'm desperately hungry for the intersection of someone who can cut Asian hair and has queer styling. And I've not yet been able to find it in Rochester. I'm open to recommendations, but I need both of those things. And that was immediately clear in Hong Kong when I sat down at this punk barber who gave me a cool haircut without me saying anything. And I felt like I belonged. But going to mainland China, well, the story of my family is a little bit more removed. Not that removed, just 80 years, 75. And so I thought there'd be some tastes of recognition, some tastes of belonging and home. And there were, but they were surprising. Leaving Hong Kong, a city bigger than New York, and taking the high-speed rail that my American heart desperately longs for, I left Hong Kong and found myself in another big city at the first stop, Shenzhen, and then another one, Guangzhou, and then another one that I have never heard of and can't remember because China is full of cities I've never heard of that are bigger than New York. And then finally the fourth stop, just an hour and a half outside of Hong Kong at this point, given the infrastructure. And the doors open to the train, and I'm expecting another big city, expecting a place that looks incredibly different from the place that my grandfather grew up and left. And it is not. There is nothing. The doors open, and I find myself in an incredibly rural place, which I was not prepared for. I did not have the interpretation, even the money. I figured I'd be able to get everything I needed in a major city, but that's not where I found myself. Eventually, I figured it out and was able to get a taxi to where my cousin had given me a screenshot of a Google map, zoomed way in with a little red circle, and then zoomed out a little bit more that I was trying to overlay on top of the map that the cab driver had, because none of my maps were working because Google pisses off China, and I knew that. But I didn't know Apple had recently joined the club. So I thought I'd have something, and I did. 2 people fumbling through, trying to find it. I found the place where my grandfather called home from birth until he left for Hong Kong, a place where he survived the Japanese occupation and starvation and left with a quarter of the people from that village at the same time. I had known that part of my family history was that my grandfather's relative had come to the States and worked on the railroads and did not die, which meant that he could bring money back and built a weird fortress, a tower in Portuguese style in this village in China. What I didn't know was that hundreds of other families had done the same. These multi-level towers, unlike anything else in Chinese architecture, dotted this entire area. It's become a tourist destination for Chinese people, and for good reason. It is an unusual artifact of history. But what was also scattered around these buildings and the more humble structures around them was plant life. A tree that grows in my parents' home in California sat outside the tower that my grandfather was born in. I was not prepared for the plant life, the natural surroundings to feel like Southern California. And yet it did. It pinged a sense of home. Taking photos for my grandfather and my family, I was saddened preemptively by what I would need to show them. A tower abandoned and overrun with vines where nobody lived. We didn't know what had happened to it, and now we do. But the thing about its abandonment is that it didn't happen when my grandfather left for Hong Kong. It happened somewhat recently, in fact, after my cousin visited, just in the last 10 years. You see, this weird confluence of mass emigration and very unusual and stunning, somewhat beautiful structures, the combination of Western architecture with Chinese architecture all jumbled together makes it a deeply interesting place. And so the Chinese Communist Party, the ruling party of China, evicted the entire village about 10 years ago, walled it off, and made it a movie studio. So again, an unusual point of recognition. I grew up in Los Angeles, and I have been to Universal Studios more times than I can count. So after going to my grandfather's tower and walking a few blocks and paying $8 to come into a walled town, I found myself greeted by a show based on historical stories of this place with a little bit of communist propaganda laid on top of it, and lots of fireworks and jet skis. This felt like home to this Los Angeles-born person. But it became clear that home was not a place my grandfather could go back to, not to mainland China and not to Hong Kong, a place that has become very different, both economically and culturally, since he left. Still a trilingual place that mixes Chinese culture and British colonialism into this international place of diversity and pluralism and multiple languages. It's no longer a place where the parks feature signs that say no dogs or Chinese, as it was when my dad grew up there. Home isn't a place that they can go back to in China or Hong Kong, but it helped me understand a little bit about what it meant when people ask, "Where are you from?" And I know in my heart that the answer they're seeking is not the truth. Belonging is something that we cultivate, that we understand for ourselves, that we make for one another, but it's also shaped by forces far beyond our personal feelings and personal relationships. Governments, ideologies, economies, all of these shape who gets to belong and who doesn't. Where are you from? Ghanaian, English, American, Senegalese writer rejects this story. Sorry, Taye Selassie rejects this story of her belonging. She rejects the story of nations describing who she is. Nike is multinational. She is not. A concept, an idea of home that's based on ideology cannot be as more powerful as the shops, the people, the places that I know well, the conversations that I have regularly. She describes the question, where are you local to, as something that can be answered by the 3 R's: ritual, relationships, and restrictions. And we'll get to those in a moment, but I just want to talk about where are you from and where are you local to as dramatically different questions that I was helped to understand much more deeply by Reverend Verdis. In his coming here, this child of Rochester, this Unitarian Universalist who came from Rochester but had never been a part of this community, and yet for the last 2 years so powerfully has been, I understand more deeply what it means to create a sense of belonging and home. But I also begrudgingly had to admit that the question of where are you from and the answer Rochester was incomplete for Reverend Verdis. As much as I wanted him to be thoroughly and only of Rochester, and he certainly is of this place, he is local too, in a way that I can never truly understand and did not expect, but yet flows in him, flows in his relationships and what matters and the sensibilities and rituals and sense of belonging. He is local not only to Rochester, but other places, including New England. This child of Rochester came to us much more of a Vermonter than I could ever have expected. And it is with joy and gratitude that we get to send you to a place where a cultivation of belonging and place, a call to make community and to weave relationships is also New England. Connecticut calls you forward. And where you are local to does not end with where you live or where you were born. But so much about the world conspires against this, conspires against a sense of movement, the stories of human history that are older than any government, older than any ideology. Yes, the story of my family's movement is one that wasn't entirely chosen, and certainly The United States is full of migrants, people whose families or they themselves came here not because there was a better option, but because they were fighting for their very survival or because they were kidnapped as property. And yet, the movement of people, the weaving and reweaving of belonging, is an old story. The Bible begins with a list of names, a way of creating a sense of identity that stands beyond where people are from. The idea that displacement and migration do not rob us of our ability to weave and reweave who we are matters. But there's no doubt that place, a sense of rootedness, a longing to belong, a sense of home, tells us who we are. It means something to say that First Unitarian is your spiritual home. This sense of ownership, a sense of belonging, invites you to participate more full-heartedly in our work here, to make our mission your mission, and a severing of those connections to nations, to cities, to villages, or to churches feels, because it is, like violence. The meaning of a place, even as it is worked and reworked, is dramatically and violently impacted by those in power who aim to force others out. Rebecca Parker, UU theologian and former president of Starr King, one of our Unitarian Universalist seminaries, writes that the location of the sacred is in our embodied particular lives. She's taking up those themes of ritual, relationships, and restrictions that Selassie talks about. We honor place and we reweave it through the people we know, the relationships that we maintain, and the things that we do on a daily or weekly basis. And the restrictions that exist in place for a particular person or a community impact this sense of belonging and who and how we are. Race, immigration policies, the refusal to use people's pronouns here in this sacred space, all of these are ways in which we place restrictions on other people, and when we violate place, we violate those people. In the last 100, 50, 20, and 5 years, the ways migration and movement, forced and otherwise, to place have been transformed. We are increasingly mobile, sometimes by choice and sometimes not, as we covered, but climate change is also forcing entire communities to relocate. Repressive policies and poverty forced by capitalism, and the idea that people are put on this earth to add to the shareholder profit as opposed to live lives of connection and abundance have turned people into products that can be moved endlessly, and our place attachment is severed. I speak today of what I consider forceful displacement by the People's Republic of China in ways that I don't normally, because it's hard to be critical of other people's governments, and yet forced displacement is now the American way. It has been for a very long time, but we have seen an acceleration of this, a stripping of safety and belonging. On Friday, I gathered with many members of this congregation and those traveling in a caravan of empathy, witnessing to the lives of rural migrant workers and all immigrants who are facing a climate of fear and repression right now. ICE raids in our own community, in homes, workplaces, schools, and churches, has transformed everyday familiar places of ritual and relationship into sites of fear. White nationalist movements try to claim that our public spaces belong to some people, but not others. Our government now runs social media recruiting people to Homeland Security, saying defend our culture, making it clear that our American culture is the culture of one group of people, erasing history and intimidating communities, intentionally shrinking the definition of who belongs. This place violence, it says to certain people, this is not your place. It is a form of terrorism, of using fear to remove people from their sense of safety, to replace danger where there was once belonging. But it impacts all of us. Yes, there are those among us here in this very room who are more vulnerable than others. There are those whose citizenship status, relationships, or economic privilege mean that some will be targeted before others. But over the past 4 months, I've had the privilege and the horror of participating in activism around both the genocide in Gaza and our immigration detention facilities popping up all over this country. And I found myself in Newark, New Jersey, a couple of days after the mayor of Newark was arrested. A couple of days after the one person in this city who has the most formal authority to say, this place belongs to me, arrested and detained without information. I saw elected officials, state congressional representatives pushed down on the ground, given clear messages that they were not welcome here and that they were not safe. If it can happen to the mayor of Newark, it can happen to any one of us. If it can happen to our elected representatives, it can happen to any one of us. Bell Hooks writes about belonging as a paradox. She says that our longing to belong stops us from feeling a sense of home everywhere. We live in this dual human paradox of needing desperately to belong, and also the fundamental truth that every place is sacred and holy and ours if we are willing to do the work to weave connection again and again and again. Here at First Unitarian, we know something about dislocation of space. It's embedded deep in our history, and it doesn't hold the same sense of violence that some of these other stories do. And the city of Rochester did quite literally knock down our building to put a shopping mall in. Our story, our history, our sense of belonging is one that requires us to fiercely and continually reweave what it means to be a people together. A sense of home cannot be found in one static building that must always look the same. A sense of home cannot be found in a city that gets walled off, a place of beauty and interest but no belonging. A sense of home cannot be found in a place where others are always trying to turn you or someone else out. Our sense of who and how we belong must depend on a sense of ownership, of leadership that claims a home, imperfect and not yet done, and that works to ever create a place where others belong. We talk about our church as a sanctuary, our faith as a sanctuary, the city of Rochester as a sanctuary. I remember saying to all of you, I say all of you as if all of you were there. You were not. That's not how church works. But to this congregation, when I first arrived, that part of the joy of coming to Rochester was that it was a climate haven. And yeah, there's a part of me that was delighted that that might mean that I and my family were safe, but what it meant was that ahead for us as a congregation, we have a powerful and important ministry to protect what this place means as a place of welcome and belonging. Going to China and seeing my grandfather's city walled off for the enjoyment of a few and the eviction of many reminded me very clearly that what we risk in being a place that other people want to be in is that the powerful will want to wall us off, physically place boundaries around who can come here and who cannot, physically and spiritually place boundaries around our hearts to help us turn away from those who need our welcome, to say my family is fine and that is enough. It is not. Sanctuary, our task, our call forward as a community of belonging, of reweaving, of people constantly looking for home, missing the ways it's found everywhere, and yet needing to reweave right here, means that we must, in our rituals, in our gatherings each week, understand ourselves to be connected, inextricably bound to one another. It means in our relationships that our sense of sanctuary has probably, quite frankly, moved from the idea that our church could help house people facing deportation because we are no longer considered a safe space for ICE, and more like we as individuals and families and neighbors must learn to protect, to mobilize, to show up when ICE raids a school or an apartment building or your neighbor's home right next to you. It means standing publicly against the ideologies that try to decide who belongs and who doesn't. We practice this work here in community. We take our broken, longing, unequal sense of belonging here in this spiritual home, and we practice weaving it stronger and stronger together so that we might build a world that none of us have yet seen but know might be possible, where the powers that be and those who aim to tell some that they do not belong do not get the final word. Let us always be asking, what makes this place holy? What makes this place sacred? It is because we act like it is. Amen. I am so grateful to be home with you. And home and where we are from, as I said before, is not one place. For many of us, we contain multitudes. We are local to multiple places. And so today we honor Reverend Verdis' departure from us. Reverend Verdis, I want to give you a chance to say a few words if you'd like. Just a little, literally a few.
All right, so a few years ago, I met Reverend Shari for the first time in a rooftop bar in Portland. Well, met socially, and they asked me, "Do you want to come back home, or can you come back home?" And it was like the first one, and it took me a while, but then it eventually became yes. So I leave without regret. It has been a couple of years that has been nothing but joy to be with all of you. I leave with gratitude for all of y'all, but really gratitude for this staff. This staff has been the best staff that I've ever worked with in my entire life. And gratitude for Reverend Shari for being prophetic to bring me here so that I can move on to my next assignment. So gratitude for Reverend Shari. And I'll be back in one way or another. You might have to spread my ashes, but not anytime soon. But love you all, and best wishes for your continued growth.
All right, Reverend Verdis, don't go yet. So I'm going to ask you to join me right over here. And do you happen to have that red stone that the children gave you? All right, I want you to hold that in your hand. Okay. And everybody in this room or joining us online, you've got a beating heart right in your chest, but you don't have a stone. So I'm going to ask you to hold your own heart. to feel the beating, the pauses between movement, to know that this time and this connection is sacred, and that is because each and every one of you holds something of the holy within you. The sacred beats within you. These connections, these ways of being together, these rituals and these relationships help inform who and how you are, Reverend Verdis. Your time with First Unitarian has shaped us. We will be different, and we are different for your coming and being here among us. And we hope that you take us with you. And so I want to invite folks forward for a blessing. And we'll start with the children, our children and youth and families that you hold in your hand, but who we all know help inform and change us. Those of us who have long since grown out of the religious education rooms and who maybe are thinking about volunteering in the fall. They change and are a part of you. The restrictions, too, here. A half-time contract for 3 years, that, too, has shaped you. You would have wanted to be here full-time. It wasn't something we could offer. And yet you learned and grew and contributed here. All of this helps your ministry and who you are help Unitarian Universalism. So I want to invite that staff that you talked about forward, Reverend AJ and Pablo and Florence, and Amanda's with our children. But Emily, I think I'm going to have to make you sit over there. I'm sorry. Because none of us can hear without you. And this staff team is one of the most multicultural, multiracial, and multi-generational staff teams that exists in Unitarian Universalism. And you have changed who we are, and it has been such a joy and a pleasure to have you among us. And so, with permission, I'm going to ask the staff to put a hand on your shoulder or on each other's shoulder and help form a network of love and blessing. I want to invite up next the Jubilee Singers, those who were part of Reverend Verdis' pilot project here, to help us understand how gospel singing boldly about religious pluralism, and please go ahead and put a hand. There are others. I know there are others, and it changes each and every time we gather. There are new faces and those who couldn't make it. There are those who extend beyond this church community who are part of the Jubilee Singers and who aren't here today, but whose spirit is connected in this web of blessing. And I want to invite those who served with Reverend Verdis on a team or a committee or who worked with Reverend Verdis in any sort of endeavor, please come forward. And as you're coming forward, this is just a small sampling of the people whose lives you've touched, whose relationships with First Unitarian you have touched. Next, I want to invite anyone who went to Reverend Verdis' ordination to come forward. And that's a lot of you. You had to have been there to believe it. There is so much in what we do that is transferable, right? Our religious tradition, like all other religious traditions, gets passed from person to person, story to story. But there are moments that stick in our hearts that say, whew, we just witnessed something of God, or the holy, or the divine, or not in this case, but for those who have deep spiritual experiences of evil or the demonic, or some sense of something felt and real that we can't explain, that's illogical, and that matters deeply and moves us. For those of us who were there that day, we saw a glimpse of a possibility in Unitarian Universalism. This is what worship could feel like. and it was beautiful. Not the only story, one among many that weave together, but a beautiful example of what is possible with you among us. And I'd like to invite everyone who is a part of this congregation, and you might be thinking, I'm here for the first time, I've literally never met Reverend Verdis. Or you might be thinking, I was a member 40 years ago, and I used to pledge, but now I'm coming back. You are invited also. First Unitarian as a place where Reverend Verdis' ministry could begin, where we send him out into the world, blessed and challenged by our presence. All of us, every newcomer, everyone who has gathered, whether you're standing or you're sitting in your seat and just raising a hand up, but left hand, please, because we live in a time where raising your right hand is not going to fly, is not acceptable, and is not the spirit of this church and your ministry. Each of these hands connected to you, all of the heartbeats that hold you in our prayers and in our sense of pause and possibility. Bless you on your journey. May your ministry in New England and wherever you go help weave and reweave Unitarian Universalism's power of belonging and your sense of God moving among us. Amen. Thank you, Reverend Verdis. Thank you, thank you, thank you. All right, I invite everyone to return to their seats or wherever they are. But if you want to remain standing, great, because we're going to sing ourselves out here.
Though below me I feel no motion, standing on these mountains and plains, far away from the rolling ocean, till my dry land I can say, I've been sailing all my life now, never harbor or port have I known, the wide universe is the ocean light.
opportunities to weave and reweave connection and community and belonging do not end when our worship ends. Join us for connection following the service. If you are new or newish here, please join us for the Inquirer series in room 201, just back there. We'll be talking about UU history and values. The 20s and 30s group has been rescheduled to meet next week because they all wanted to attend the cake and celebration for Reverend Verdis and Reverend Shari. That'll be out on the front patio where the coffee usually is. We've got the drum circle gathering in the council ring that's multi-generational. All ages are welcome. And of course, as every week, the This Is What Democracy Looks Like group is gathering for a working session in the lower meeting room. And if that's not enough church for you, Amanda wanted me to invite everyone. There's an RE outing, but everyone is invited, not just RE families, to an outing to Hamlin State Park. It'll be from 2 p.m. to 5 p.m. this afternoon. They'll be meeting at Area 3. All are welcome to join. Please join me in the words to extinguish our chalice as Chris extinguishes. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again.
These we carry in our hearts until we are together again. Reverend Verdis, we carry you in our hearts until we are together again, until you return to us in one way or another. No pressure. These we carry in our hearts. The hope and the song and the spirit of this place, this gathering, this making of the holy and the sacred from the ordinary and what some would like to deem exclusionary. This we carry in our hearts. We move out into the world with this spirit, this fire, this flame, and this song, singing of a people of place and belonging. Amen, and may it be so.